Thanks for joining us for Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover Mastermind Heat 3. We're over halfway through our Mastermind series. We've got our 2 finalists so far. Andy Davis won Heat 1. Tom Kraft won Heat 2. We'll see who takes the 3rd place in the final as we're joined by 4 fantastic guests and competitors for this episode. We've got 2 of the guys from the Third and Long pod joining us. We had Phil take part in episode 2. We've got the 2 Ollies from the Third and Long pod joining us to go head to head almost for bragging rights for the show and see if either of them can get through to the final. Then we've got Shane Brennan from the Irish NFL show, fantastic guest joining us with a really cool specialist subject. And rounding off the competitors for episode 4, we've got Murf from 5 Yard Rush. Big Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. That's part of his specialist subject. So let's get to it and see who's going to win Heat 3 and claim that 3rd spot in the grand final.
Kicking off our 3rd heat here at Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover Mastermind. We've got Ollie joining us from the Third and Long podcast. We had Phil take part in Heat 2. Ollie, thanks for joining us. Repping Third and Long pod, how are you feeling about kind of giving the Mastermind challenge a go?
I'm either going to be incredibly smart or incredibly brainy, depending which way it comes out. I chose such a subject for a reason. I've had my brain blown today at work with new software going in, so hopefully it's not killed too many brain cells of NFL stuff. And
I think you're gonna be a great contestant. You are also one of the guys that runs the Third and Long pod. Actually, we heard about it from Phil in the last episode, but this is a new episode, and people, we may have new people joining us and hearing it us for the first time. But tell us, I suppose, a little bit about the Third and Long pod, how you guys got going, and where we can listen to and find it.
So, just over 4 years ago now, a gentleman called Tom Shaw, who had to step away for personal reasons, put a message out on Facebook group going, anyone want to join, help me start up a Third and Long or a podcast for the NFL? And I thought, yeah, I'm up for that. I love talking about the sport, love doing that. So myself and Baby Hope, Ollie Hope, that's a long story, being called Baby Hope.
We'll get to that because he's going to be taking part in this. He's going to be in the next episode, I think. So, yeah.
So, we're up for it. We'll join. And so that birthed the Third and Long in March 2021. Obviously, just come out of the COVID year and all that as well. So it was all, wow, this is how it's going to be now and all things. So it is interesting. We did that for the year. We did the 3 of us for the year. Tom then had some personal stuff that had to step away. So it was me and Ollie through the off-season of the first year. We then put a message out again the same way Tom did. Say, look, we want to host, bring a new host in. We had a few people interviewed. We interviewed a few. Phil and Shane, we couldn't separate between the 2 of them, so we brought them both in. Means I am now outnumbered by 49er fans, which last season before last was unbearable, those 2, but it is what it is. And we've just gone from strength to strength. We're trying to get bigger and better. We aim to be there so we can go, sit in the stands and not pay for tickets and go and talk about it and earn money from it. That's the long-term dream.
Hey, that's what we're all doing. That's what we're all trying to do, Ollie, yeah. It's what we're all trying to do for sure.
Incredible people from doing this. I've met obviously the 4 guys I do the show, the 3 guys I do the show with, Tom as well. Really, they're brilliant friends. I've made really good friends from other podcasts as well. Obviously Andy, really, really top bloke, bulging the big fella. Really, really great blokes. Spent most of them. They've interviewed my kids to go on their show, which was hilarious. So this sport has brought me more friends than ever. And I played semi-pro football and American football over here. So
Excellent. It's one of the great things about us. We started this Mastermind series over the last few weeks. We've got to meet a whole bunch of new people that we didn't before, and got to sit down and chat and get their passions for their subjects and their teams. So that's been really cool, and yeah, a great way to kind of network and meet some more people. And we're very blessed to have all of the guys from the Third and Long Pod taking part in NFL Masterminds. I was gonna wonder if we could have just like put all of you in one episode and let you fight it out, but it felt better just to separate you guys across multiple episodes.
Have you watched our episode? Or listened to our
I know
episodes? We talk over each other a lot.
I feel you'd have loved it, yeah. I feel you guys would have loved it and just had like one crowning champion for the Third and Long Pod as well. But I thought I'd give opportunity for all of you guys to try and get to the final by having you across some of the episodes. You mentioned, obviously, I suppose a little bit, if you are watching on our YouTube, Ollie is currently sporting a Manchester United jersey. We are recording this, although this goes out a couple of weeks after, an hour before the Europa League final, as Manchester United take on Spurs. To hopefully I'm also a big Manchester United fan as well. How do you think it's going to go? Give us a quick score prediction, and then we can play it back and see if you were right.
Well, as you can see me, I've got all my NFL memorabilia, like all the Patriots stuff. But I'm actually looking at a wall that my other half sits at when she's working. That's full of Tottenham stuff. So I've gone United to win. My builder bet has got Ugarte and Romero to be booked. Bruno to have 2 or more shots. Solanke to have a shot on target. And United to win. So I'm not going to give a score prediction because last time I did that I went completely out of the box. But I've heard lads I work with say 3-2 United, 2-0 United, 1-0 Bruno penalty. I've heard
everything.
United win. I still remember the day. 99, extra time against Bayern Munich. 16-year-old, tears running down my eyes like the kids going, we're going to lose. So yeah, I always remember that day.
Well, fingers crossed United get the job done. It doesn't matter how tonight, it's just get the job done. Find a way to win, no matter what, by hook or by crook. That's all that matters tonight.
I wouldn't care if it's a Mickey van der Ven own goal.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, any which way will do. Ollie, your specialist subject was an interesting one. You have picked the history of the NFL London games, NFL UK games. Was just talking a little bit off camera before we start recording. I'm of the understanding that you've been to every single one.
Every single one, starting 07 against the Dolphins, against the Giants. Sat up in the top tier at Wembley, hearing the crunch of the pads, watching the rain come down, the players sliding all over the place. OC absolutely balling out. I think even remember he got MVP that day as well. And I was, wow. I mean, I've been around the NFL for all my life. My dad's a NFL fan, Falcons and Vikings fan, due to different various reasons. So I've been around there all my life. Watched Super Bowls because that's the only way it was before then that you could. And then my dad said, "Oh, fancy coming to the NFL, Wembley." I said, "Yeah, I'm up for that." Being 25 at the time or something like that it was. So I went to the NFL with that, and I've been to every single UK game since. Went to Germany to watch the Colts beat the Patriots. My Patriots in probably one of the worst games I've seen. So I feel like I've got a fairly good history and knowledge about, especially on the UK side and slightly on the German side as well.
Nice. Excited about the matchups for 2025 that we've got coming. That we've got the Jags, Rams, Vikings, Browns, and Broncos, Jets, isn't it? I think are the 3 games this year.
Well, I've just gone out now a couple of weeks ago that I actually think the Jags Rams is probably the game of the series personally for me. I do think the Madrid game could be absolutely brilliant. Dolphins Commanders, but UK wise, I think the Rams Jags is probably going to be good games. Broncos, I'd like to see Bo Nix in the flesh, see what he's like. And game one's going to be a bit of a car crash, especially on the orange helmet side.
Yeah, it'd be interesting by the time we get to week 5, I guess, when that game is, who's starting on the centre for the Cleveland Browns. That might be that's going to be an interesting start to the season for them. But yeah, I agree. I think Rams Jags is the game. I think I'm going to be looking to attend this time around. Should be a cracker. Great players in the Rams, and I want to go see Travis Hunter in the flesh. Who doesn't? So should be.
Yeah, I mean, I've already got my tickets for the Jags game because I've season ticket holder for like as long as I can remember. So I've already got My tickets for that one coming forward.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well prepared. We'll see you down there. But before we get there, you have got 2 rounds of NFL trivia to get through before we even think about going to Wembley. So we're going to do 2 minutes on the history of the NFL London games. I just need to grab a stopwatch quickly because we've started recording and I've left my phone on the side, so give me a quick second. I'm well prepared. Well prepared for this. Cool. Yeah, so just very much like exactly like the TV show Mastermind. If you pass, we'll come back to the question at the end. If you give us an incorrect answer, I'll let you know straight away. And if I start a question as the 2 minutes expires, I will finish. So how are you feeling? Are you feeling? Are you feeling nice?
You've got to use the line though. You've got to use the line.
I will try, but doing this while managing the questions and the clock and the recording is far too much for one person. I understand why the BBC needs so many people to create an episode of Mastermind. A bit tricky doing it on your own, but we'll get started. And yes, 2 minutes. Are you feeling relaxed now? Had a bit of time to chat and kind of settle in. You feeling ready?
I feel right. I mean, I've just seen it's going to be interesting. I mean, like I said to you off air, mad day at work with like learning new systems and all that. That's just something that they decided to change midway for the month. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think you've got it.
Yeah.
I think you just be able to tap into all that knowledge from all those games that you've attended over the years, because you're gonna need it. So, are you ready, Ollie? 2 minutes on the history of the NFL International Series, NFL London games. Ready to roll?
Let's roll.
Cool. Let's go. Which tight end caught 2 touchdown passes in the Patriots' 45-7 rout of the Rams in 2012? Gronk, correct. The San Francisco 49ers beat which AFC team in the 2010 London game?
Jags.
It was the Denver Broncos. The Lions came back from 21 points down in 2014 to beat the Falcons 22-21. Who kicked the walk-off field goal for the Lions?
Pass.
2013 was the first year where there were 2 regular season games in London. Steelers-Vikings was the first, but which 2 teams played in the second?
2013 was Niners-Jags?
Correct. The 2016 series had 3 games, 2 at Wembley. Which stadium held the other?
Twickenham. Rams.
Correct.
At that time.
Correct. The 2008 London game saw both quarterbacks pass for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Who were the 2 quarterbacks?
Sorry, can you remind me of the year?
2008.
So that'd be Drew Brees and Rivers?
Correct. Which Oakland Raiders coach was fired the day after a 38-14 loss to the Miami Dolphins at Wembley in 2014?
13. Was that Madden? No, Gruden, sorry. John Gruden.
It was Dennis Allen. The Jags beat the Buffalo Bills in 2015 by scoring a late fourth quarter touchdown. Who caught the winning touchdown pass?
2014.
2015.
15.
2015.
Who the hell was it? I could picture it because it was right in front of me. And I sit with a load of past Jag fans tonight.
It was Alan Hearns. So I think we've got 5 on the board. Is that right? 5 on the board from the first round.
That's so bad.
It's some tough questions, and it's hard, isn't it? Remembering how many has it been now? 30 odd games? 30, 40? 30 something. 34. Yeah, 34 games. The kicker for the Lions was Matt Prater. He kicked the winning.
I had Gay in my head. I had Matt Gay in my head.
Yeah, Matt Prater and Alan Hearns was the Jags player to caught the win touchdown pass. Dennis Allen was the coach, fired by the Raiders. They didn't mess around. It was the day after the Raiders fired him after them getting trounced by.
You said 2013. That's what I put.
Yeah, so 2014 for the Raiders, and it was 2015 for the Jags-Bills game. And then everything else. And Broncos was the AFC team that the Niners beat in the 2010 game, beat them 24-16 at Wembley. 5 on the board.
Yeah, that's the first ever game that Baby Hope went to. He reminds me of that.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. How are you feeling that went? How's it? Also, it's hard, right? Under the pressure, with the time.
I'm surprised I got a couple of questions wrong, especially the Allen one. But it is what it is, you learn as you go along.
Absolutely. This is hard, right? I think I've said to most people at this point, I would much rather, I've sat here and wrote all these questions over the last couple of months to get ready for this. I would happily do all that again than spend the 2 minutes under the spotlight trying to answer a specialist subject. So, credit where credit due, because it is tough.
Listen to your questions for Phil and Shane.
Yes.
What their subjects are.
Yeah. Those are pretty good. So all you guys have from the Third and Long pod have chosen really interesting subjects to write. And some trickier than others to write questions for as well, but it's certainly been enjoyable. Ollie, we're going to give you a bit of time as we finish off the rest of the first round to gather your thoughts and come back. How is your general NFL knowledge?
Not too bad. My dad has always said if I ever have a go on Eggheads, he wants me at the sports team, so I have a good general sports knowledge, so it's not too bad.
I think you're going to do pretty well the general knowledge side of things as well. So cool, we'll give you, like I say, a few minutes just to gather your thoughts and see how everyone else does, and then we'll be back for the second round, which is the general knowledge.
Good teams win, great teams cover Mastermind. We're joined by Shane Brennan from the Irish NFL show. Shane, welcome to Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. It's great to have you on. How are you, and how are you feeling about taking part in our Mastermind competition?
The answer to those questions are very different. I'm doing very well. I mean, everybody in Ireland is just incredibly excited at the fact that an NFL game has come to Dublin. And just in general, I'm doing fairly all right. We're in that nice summery time of the year where we have long evenings and we all sort of, very much enjoy sort of making use of the outdoors. In terms of how I'll do in this, I love watching game shows, so I always think I do better on game shows and in pub quizzes and stuff than when any time I actually compete in these, I just turn into a complete fraud. You think I could do well watching The Chase, and I think I know all the great things watching like Nick Knowles and all the rest doing it on the BBC, and I come in to do these things and either I fall flat, I get names mixed up, I haven't done the right research, I'm completely flat out. So like I was listening to Andy Davis, for example, he was in one of the earlier heats, did really well on his specialist subject, and he got 10 out of 15 that was asked him. I was like, if I could even get half as good as that, I'd be doing fairly well. But no, it's good fun, and I appreciate you taking the time out to bring me on.
Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate you coming on and taking part, because I think what we've learned so far, kind of as we're in the second half of the heats now, is like the pressure of me firing questions at people and then it being recorded. It does have an impact on people, and people that maybe would have some kind of gimme questions, because there's been a mix of easy questions, hard questions, and then just the pressure just gets them and your thought process changes, and it just, it can catch you out. But I think you're going to do real well. And we'll get into your specialist subjects a little bit as well, because I think it's a really fun one. But you, as mentioned at the start, part of the Irish NFL show. Great show, great pod. Everyone should go follow and listen to it. Especially, before anyway, but especially now, because Ireland is booming, as you mentioned, in terms of going to be hosting the first regular season game, Steelers-Vikings in 2025. But what have you got coming up for the show over the summer and in the run-up to the start of the season, Shane?
We have a lot. So I guess, obviously, we are the Irish NFL show, but I guess we're not just limited to, we don't just talk about Irish things. A lot of the voices we have coming on are given their American perspective. One thing we do a lot over the course of the year is we get people who are covering specific NFL teams from America, whether they're beat writers, podcasters, sometimes they're content creators from our side of the Atlantic as well to go into a deep dive about their team. So, for example, I had Anthony Wotton on last week, who is a London-based BBC journalist, to talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Earlier on this week, we had Bobby Skinner, who is an American-based journalist, follows the New York Giants. He's talking about all things Jackson Dart and Joe Shane and all the kind of things. So we take this time of year because for us, the draft is a big thing that we spend a lot of time building up to. We did a live show covering the first round on the Thursday night. One of the guys that's in our team is based in Florida. He's Irish, but he's based in Florida, so he's kind of our de facto college football expert. So after that time, we spend a lot of time to sort of trying to take a step back and going team by team so that everybody knows or gets a better sense as to what their team has done over the course of the off-season, because it's difficult to keep track of things in the off-season. Even for me, I'm a Patriots fan. It can be, you can miss things. So I guess what we try to do is we try to cover the whole league, keep things as accessible as possible so that if you're a new fan of the game, you're welcome into what we do. But at the same time, we try to get into the good analysis. We don't waste time trying to do anything clickbaity. We really want to try and get in it because fundamentally, like all of us do, like you do, like everybody who follows the sport does, we just love the game of American football and we just want to talk about it. So we're looking forward to. I don't have any locked on names for guests we have on over the next couple of whiles. The Dallas Cowboys are actually a team we have yet to do a deep dive on over the course of this off season. So I guess that might be one we'll hit on soon because the other guys in the NFC East have gotten their time in the spotlight.
You've got to save the best to last, Shane, haven't you? Of course.
The Eagles. Don't save them to last, is it?
They might be the worst. I think the Cowboys might finish fourth in the NFC East this year, but that could be a whole discussion itself. You mentioned you sat in your Patriots jersey there as well. Mentioned you're a big New England Patriots fan as well. How are you feeling kind of about Patriots heading into 2025?
I said at the start of the season last year that even if the Patriots had a worse record than they did in 2023, but they came out of the year managing the Drake May situation well and knowing what they needed to fix and knowing what they needed to keep, that the Patriots' 3-year rebuild project would be on point. And that's exactly what happened last year, bar the fact that that we beat the Bills in the last game of the season, in the game we probably shouldn't have beat them in. We would have had a worse record than we did in 2023, but I felt better about the year because the Drake May situation was handled in a certain way. And look, once Gerard Mayo was moved on, we ended up putting the coaching staff that probably should have been put together in the first place, right? Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, who, whatever about his head coaching creds and his record is that, his record as offensive coordinator in New England speaks for itself, specifically when it comes to how he worked with Mac Jones. Whatever about the time during the Tom Brady era, you can kind of put that down to the Brady magic. But if you look at what he was able to get out of Mac Jones versus what Mac Jones turned into after he left, you can at least be confident in what the Patriots can do this season. Are they going to make the playoffs? Probably not, but I'm more confident that we will have something to play for and a bit more hope going into each individual game, because a lot of games last year and even the year beforehand, like I went over to see the Patriots play against the Colts in Frankfurt, and I did the same against the Jags in Wembley last year. And in both of those games, more so in Frankfurt, it was just boring football because there was no offensive flair, there was no creativity, there was just, there's nothing to get you excited about. And I'd rather watch a team that could lose a game 33-36 than trying to find a way to win a game 10-7, as the Patriots have been the last 2 years. So in that respect, I am looking forward to how this year is going to play out. Are we going to win trophies? No. We're going to top the division? No. But it should be a good crack to see how all the players shake out.
Yeah, it should be an exciting year for the Patriots, and always fun. It'll be fun having Vrabel as head coach. That'll be the first year of that project from that perspective will be exciting. Drake May looked really good in patches last year, so yeah, lots to be excited for the Patriots after a couple of down years. You could have done with the rest anyway, out the spotlight.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you said that, right? Because I seem to be the only Patriots fan who seems to be accepting the fact that we're crap and trying to enjoy it. We've earned our time in the doldrums. Everybody else is we've experienced in like a decade what people would dream about to experience in 50 years. So let's enjoy the fact that we're just terrible. It's character building. We can help deepen our connection with the team now because we know we've been through some bad periods, and we can deepen our Patriots. Our Patriots love that way, but everybody else is just, in typical Boston sports fan fashion. If you're not 17-0, there's something wrong with you. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'd just kill just to be in one conference championship game for my team, never mind 6 Super Bowls in the last 20 years, etc. Anyway, enough about how good the Patriots were. Shane, your specialist subject that you focused on, I guess we just discovered off air, it could have been one of 2 specialist subjects you could have gone for, but the one that I've prepped for is the career of Al Michaels, so the legendary and beloved NFL commentator, even if he's been getting a bit of stick recently, which I think is a bit unwarranted. What prompted you where's the interest or love for Al Michaels come from, and what made you pick it as your specialist subject?
It's probably I work in general. Obviously, I do the Irish NFL show, but as a professional, I work in media as well. So my view on media characters and what they bring to the game, what they bring to how we love football, is something that was always to the fore of my mind. And there's a lot of commentators across all sports that are divisive or bring up certain memories in our own heads. And to me, Al Michaels, the longevity of his career, his turn of phrase. I know he might necessarily bring the same energy to what he's currently doing in Amazon Prime than he might have done in his prime. But that doesn't mean that I don't really love turning on Thursday Night Football and hearing his voice and what he has to bring to it. Even just the mystique around the fact that he doesn't eat any vegetables and all this kind of thing. And when you see him go on the Rich Eisen show and talk about his memories of the game and the fact that I think he's the only commentator to have commentated on every day of the week or something like that. I probably should be throwing out trivia like that before you're asking your questions. I might have spoiled something on accident. Peek behind the curtain, I did come into this thinking that we were doing a thing on Julian Edelman. So any Al Michaels trivia bit that I did last week might be in my head and might not be. So I got confused in my own head about that. But in terms of my respect and love for the man and his craft, because I think a lot of us think that we can do commentary when we watch the game, and it's way more difficult than it looks. And for somebody to do it to his quality in the moments that he's done it, with the poise that he's done it, for as long as he's done it, I think deserves a lot of credit. And he's a man I have a lot of admiration and respect for.
Excellent. I love that, mate. He's synonymous with my entry into the NFL and first watching it, with the time I started watching and what games were available, particularly on terrestrial TV, because there weren't many. But yeah, his was the main voice that I listened to when watching my first NFL game. So yeah, I've got a lot of love for him as well. And look, it's hard to get excited sometimes for those Thursday night games because there are some rough games that go on that Thursday night schedule. So yeah, I can understand and empathise with Al Michaels when trying to watch those games. So Shane, just in Mastermind, true Mastermind format, we're just doing a full rip-off. At some point, I think I'm going to get a cease and desist email from the BBC with how this has been going. But yeah, 2 minutes on your specialist subject. If you pass, we'll cover off the answer at the end. If I start a question, as the 2 minutes expires, I will finish, as they say. So, are you ready for 2 minutes on the career of Al Michaels? These questions are really varied as well, so just to get some variety in them. So, this could be a wild 2 minutes.
Let's go. I'm looking forward to it. If I get 0, I don't care. Let's just do it.
I don't think you can get 0. I think you did pretty well. 2 minutes, the career of Al Michaels. Let's go. Al Michaels appeared as himself in Basketball and which other 90s sports movie?
Space Jam?
Oh, it was Jerry Maguire. Which iconic Olympic moment did Al Michaels famously call in 1980?
Miracle on Ice.
Correct. Which NBA team did Al Michaels briefly work for in the 1960s?
The Lakers.
Correct. Which NFL program did Al Michaels call from 1986 to 2005?
Sunday Night Football?
It was Monday Night Football.
It was one or the other.
It was, yeah. What was Al Michaels' famous line during the Miracle on Ice broadcast?
You'll never live to see it again. Something like that. I can't remember.
Do you believe in miracles?
That makes sense, yeah.
And rights to 4 editions of which sporting event were traded for Al Michaels to move to NBC?
NBA Finals?
It was the Ryder Cup. And what was Al Michaels' first job in television?
Pass.
Al Michaels joined Amazon Prime in 2022. Who has been his broadcast partner?
Kirk Herbstreit.
Correct. Which baseball team did Michaels do play-by-play commentary for in the Pacific Coast League?
Not the Dodgers, is it?
It's not. It's the Hawaii Islanders. That was a bit of a deep question. What year did Al Michaels move from ABC to NBC?
2009.
2006. In which 70s TV drama did Al Michaels appear in as an actor?
MASH?
Oh, it's a good guess. It's Hawaii Five-0. Which major sporting event did Michaels cover that was interrupted by an earthquake?
The World Series.
Yeah, correct. World Series baseball. And Super Bowl 43 in 2009 was Michaels' last game partnered with which former NFL head coach?
John Madden.
Correct, and that's us time. Yeah, rough. That was hard, right?
It's good. I'm slightly disappointed because I know. Have you had the chance to say I started so I'll finish? Yeah, it's in St. Dundas.
It's not quite fallen yet.
That's right. Maybe that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back with with somebody sort of coming after you with Mastermind's rights.
But good one. So that was a real. So the nature of that specialist subject, I think, is really, really difficult. You got 5, which I think is really good because it's it's really tough to write Al Michaels questions. But it was so interesting in just looking through his career and the bits and bobs that went along with it. But yeah, I think 5's a really good score for that.
Yeah, the Do You Believe in Miracles one, I'll be awake thinking how I didn't cop that. But like I said, that's what this format is. Things you think you know, you just don't get.
Yeah. So Jerry Maguire was the film he also appeared in. So he was in Basketball and Jerry Maguire in the 90s. Monday Night Football, it was one or the other. So it was Monday Night Football, 86 to 05, then 06 till 2021, whatever it was Sunday Night Football. Do You Believe in Miracles was the line. The trade for Al Michaels to move from ESPN, I guess Disney, to NBC was wild. So NBC traded away the rights to show the next 4 Ryder Cups, and a Walt Disney character, I think, was traded to them as well, which was wild, like an unused Walt Disney character. It was very strange. Al Michaels started out in TV on The Dating Game, which was a dating show in the 60s.
Yeah.
The Hawaii Islanders were part of when that was one of his first sports jobs, and that's how he also got to appear in Hawaii Five-0 as well. And then, ABC to NBC. He started NBC Sunday Night Football in 2006. So, 5. How are you feeling after going through the mill with that?
I thought I actually did slightly better in that than I was expecting, to be honest with you. Even though I had done some some prep in the lead up. I know it was last week, but no, I'm happy with that. I'll go away with my head held high. If I ever meet Al Michaels, I can now tell him that I saw him in Hawaii Five-0, even though I haven't, but I could tell him I did.
Excellent. Weirdly, in the episode of Hawaii Five-0 that he's also in, Christopher Walken's already in it as well as a guest star as well. So.
Dream dinner table. What more do you want?
That would be ace, yeah. Shane, that's part 1, so we'll let you have a rest, reflect, get ready for round 2. How was your general NFL knowledge?
It's like anything else, hit and miss. It probably depends on the era as well, because I've been an NFL fan since roughly 2014. So if you're asking me stuff from the 70s, like anything else, we all have times and eras and teams that we like or focus on more than others. So you know yourself.
Yeah, I think you do good. There's a mix in there in the questions that we've pulled, so I think you'll give it a good run. So yeah, Shane, thanks very much. We're going to head to our final competitor to introduce you this episode, and they're going to tackle their specialist subject. Our third of the contingent from the Third and Long pod joining us. We've got Ollie Hope joining us to take part in NFL Mastermind Heat 3. Ollie, you're going direct head-to-head with the other Ollie from the show in this one, as we've got 2 of you guys in Heat 3. But first of all, welcome to the show. How are you doing, Ollie?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on. It's always nice to beat the older Ollie at his own game, like I did on my own podcast last week in the Mastermind final. And now I'm the Third and Long champion. I feel like I've got a bit of pressure coming onto this.
I like how you guys kind of had a bit of a warm-up for this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the conference final. This is a Super Bowl.
Excellent. That is a good way to do it. You will have the winner will have bragging rights forever over at the Third and Long pod. We've heard a little bit about the Third and Long pod. Of course, we've had Phil take part in episode Heat 2. Obviously, we got Ollie who kick-started the episode off earlier. But how did your involvement in the Third and Long pod come about, Ollie?
So, somebody called Tom, who was the founder of the podcast, put something on Facebook saying he wanted to start a podcast about NFL. So me and Ollie responded to that podcast, well, that advertisement, and we started Third and Long. And then after about 18 months, Tom, due to other commitments, had to stop doing it. So me and Ollie put another ad on Facebook, which is how Shane and Phil joined the podcast. So me and Ollie are the podcast, I guess, OGs. And Shane and Phil, although they've been here for about 3 seasons now, are still the newbies. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's something I really enjoy doing. And we're genuinely all friends. Me, Ollie, and Shane actually live quite close to each other, so we get to see each other a bit. But we only get to see Phil every now and again. But it's really good at the London games when we get to meet up. And it's just, we go live on Facebook at 8:30 every Thursday. But when this goes out, actually, we'll be taking a break for a month. So we'll be back when training camp starts every 8:30 every Thursday.
Excellent. Make sure you go give the Third and Long pod guys a follow. Catch them live on Facebook and wherever you can get your pods from. Great that it creates something like that. So something just from the kind of that one advert, one ask, and then you've got this great podcast from it, and you've got 3 great pals from it off the back of it. Pretty cool. The power of sport, the power of NFL, power of podcasting, I suppose.
Yeah, I've even done a part of a podcast from Alcatraz Island in San Francisco.
Cool, good stuff. That's apparently about to be reopened. If you've been paying attention to yours.
Yeah, I remember I was on Alcatraz. I finished the tour and I just text like, "Are you guys still recording?" And they were like, "Just about." So I just popped on for 5 minutes from the free Wi-Fi on Alcatraz Island.
Excellent, good stuff. That's quite the location. That'd be probably the most unique one from your show.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people have podcasted from there before.
Good stuff. I think you might be one of one. That's obviously a great segue, I suppose, actually, because you are a San Francisco 49ers fan. And we had a Jay from the Fourth and Gold podcast in episode 1, or Heat 1. Should call them Heats, because that's what they are, right, for this competition. So be interesting to see how you do compared to Jay, because you've got a similar time period that the questions are from. But how did you get into being a 49ers fan, Ollie?
So all the way back in 2009 was the first London game I went to, which was the 49ers against the Denver Broncos. And the 49ers won that game with their third string quarterback, Troy Smith. And from there, I was kind of a bit of a passive 49ers fan, but didn't really, I followed it, but not that. And then when I went to uni in 2016 was when I got really, really into it. And then I went from a passive 49ers fan to, properly part of the 49ers Faithful UK, and a very, very passionate 49ers fan, wearing my years check shirts. So yeah, it was just from going to that first game and watching the 49ers beat Denver, and subsequently I've been to San Francisco a few times, and it's actually my favorite city in the world.
Good stuff. Well, it's a fantastic, fantastic place to visit, and like you are one of a strong member of 49ers fans here in the UK. They are definitely one of the most heavily supported teams, I think, in the UK. And I'm looking forward to see. I think then, based on kind of your story, I think you're going to do real well in this. So your special subject is roughly the last 10 to 15 years of the San Francisco 49ers. So I think we've got questions right from your kind of time period. And yeah, I think you're going to do really well, Ollie. How are you feeling about taking on the challenge of Good Teams Week, Great Teams Cover Mastermind?
I'm always happy to take on a challenge, especially when it comes to the 49ers. So I'm excited to test my knowledge.
And we're going to see as well direct competition with Jay from the Fourth and Gold pod. Who's the most knowledgeable 49ers fan out there? We've got a test right here. So in true full-on rip-off Mastermind spirit, as we've been doing so far, if you pass a question, we'll come back to it at the end. If I start asking a question as the 2 minutes on the clock starts to run out, I'll finish it and give you time to answer it. Are you ready to roll, Ollie?
I'm ready to roll.
Right, 2 minutes on the last 10 to 15 years of the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go. The 49ers made 2 first-round draft selections in the 2016 draft. DeForest Buckner and who?
Was it McKivitz? No,
Josh Garnett. Which 49er led the NFL in sacks in the 2022 season?
Nick
Correct.
Bosa.
Who caught the game-winning touchdown pass in the 49ers' 2011 divisional round win against the Saints?
Crabtree.
Vernon Davis. Christian McCaffrey made his debut for the Niners after being traded during 2022 against who?
Kansas City
Correct.
Chiefs.
Which quarterback led the 49ers to 5 consecutive wins to end the 2017 season?
Jimmy
Correct.
Garoppolo.
Who had 4 rushing touchdowns in the 49ers win in the 2019 NFC Championship game?
Raheem
Correct.
Mostert.
Navarro Bowman was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2010 draft from which college?
Pass.
Who became the 49ers defensive coordinator after Robert Saleh left in 2020?
D'Amico Ryan.
Who was the 49ers leader in receiving yards with 1,179 in 2013?
Crabtree.
Anquan Boldin. Who was the
Oh, it's between those
Who
two.
was the 49ers general manager before John Lynch?
Oh, was it Balky? Trent
Correct.
Balky.
Who started at quarterback in week 1 of the 2022 season for the Niners?
Trey
Correct.
Lance.
The 49ers traded for offensive tackle Trent Williams from which team?
Washington.
Yeah.
Wherever they were at that
Correct.
point.
Fred Warner was drafted in which round of the 2018 NFL draft?
3rd round.
Correct. Who was the interim head coach for the 49ers for the final game of the 2010 season?
Pass.
And last one, which 49ers linebacker was selected as part of the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team?
Patrick Willis.
Correct. Very productive first round there, Ollie. I think there was just one pass in there. Navarro Bowman came out of Penn State.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But yeah, outstanding. Yeah, so there's some... I also do not remember Joshua Garnett either. He was an old lineman out of Stanford and just had a pretty nothing career.
I mean, I didn't even know lineman, but I didn't think it was McKivitz, but I just wanted to get an answer out.
But yeah, Anquan Boldin 2013 received.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It was between Crabtree and Boldin.
And then the interim head coach was Jim Tom Sula before he then later got the job. But yeah.
Oh, let's not go back to 2 and 14 with Jim Tom Sula.
So 10 on the board in round 1, special subject round. That is a pretty healthy score, and that's in all the recordings we've done so far. You're the 3rd person to get to double digits. So.
Okay, I'm happy with 10.
Pretty good going. A strong NFL general knowledge round will put you right in the mix to win Heat 3 and potentially go through to our grand final. So we'll see how you get on.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, Ollie, take a rest, take a breather, do any last minute NFL general knowledge cramming, and we'll be back to you in a few minutes to take on round 2. Moving on, we've got our next competitor in our first round. Our final competitor for Heat 3 of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover Mastermind. We're joined, and gladly joined, by Murf from 5 Yard Rush Fantasy. Murf, we've been wanting to get you on Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover for a while. Thank you for taking part in the show. How are you doing, first of all?
Hi, mate, I'm grand. Thanks very much for having me. I always admire people that do something unique like this format, so it's a real pleasure. And then I also love any opportunity to make an absolute brat of myself. So any opportunity to do both of those things at the same time is like gold. So yeah, pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to embarrassing myself once again on social media.
I'm glad we've got like the perfect Venn diagram of your
Yeah.
kind of wants, really. With this, so,
That's it. It's very niche.
It's cool, good stuff. Well, look, like we're trying to attract new people, so hopefully there's other people that live in that kind of crossover of the Venn diagram there.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to come on. I think you're going to do a really good job and put in a great performance here from kind of what I know, and I know Byron in our team knows you're a better than I do, but I think you're gonna do really well. Just got a gut feeling that you'll put in up a good score. But before we get to all of the specialist subject round, there's a clue if you're watching on YouTube of what that might be for Murf with the cap that he's currently adorning. We have to talk about 5 Yard Rush. There's so many kind of exciting things coming up. We were just talking off air before we started to record. You've been at this for 9 years with that. That's incredible.
Yeah, 925 episodes. 9 years. We've had the list of guests that we've had over those 9 years is just ridiculous. So I did when we hit 900, I decided to do like a from the vault series. You know where you're just like just go back and we decided to pick some of the best people we had on. We've had like Mark Sessler on. We've had um, Scott Hansen on, and he does our intro. We cheekily just sort of asked him at the end, and he just like we gave him a blurb, and he went, "No, I'm not doing that. I'll do my own." And he just rattled it off one take like a pro. Russ Tucker and Michael Lombardi. It's not always been strictly fantasy, although that's pretty much what we focus on. But we also like to get some of the inside routes and try and do some of the bigger topics, especially out of season, like Vernon Kay, and we had lots of great guests over the years talking about all sorts of different things, but obviously fantasy. So, and again, where Byron knows me quite well, that's our jam. I write for Fantasy Pros, and yeah, we really just started my mate Stocks and I as a podcast, and he started it first. Actually, he was talking about his league, and then his mate who he did it with left, and he's like, "I want to keep podcasting." So I said, "Well, I'm not in your league, so so we need to do something a bit more broad." And then I just said to him after a few months, like, let's just start asking people to come on. Like, we're British and no one's getting guests, so let's just like crack on. And it started there. It really started my mission 9 years ago was, and you'll probably relate to this. Anyone who played fantasy football like 9, 10 years ago, you didn't have like 12 mates more often than not who played in a league. So you join those random like NFL.com leagues where you do your draft, and after 4 weeks, like 3/4 of the teams aren't playing anymore. And it kind of just died out. And I was like, I don't want anybody in the UK to play in a random NFL.com league anymore. I want them to be able to find a league where people can just play and make friends. And it's like, okay, you only got two mates who are into NFL, great. We've got leagues, and that's kind of where the community part started, and then others have taken up that mantle. And there's so many great guys in the fantasy space, like the guys at Fantasy Sanctuary, and then we've all started fantasy tournaments. Like, we'll get to ours. It's been 7 years now, and Warrior Bowl, Matt Cullen, JTT Cup, and now all of a sudden you've got these sort of leagues that are generating the UK fantasy communities probably in its own leagues, probably raising over 100 grand a year. And then you've got what they're donating into the Scottish Bowl Live Draft, which is the largest sort of charity event in the world. And it's amazing to see the growth that it's been over the 9 years I've been doing this, where I think probably we were broadcasting to 5 people who were into fantasy football, and now it's a lot more, and it's amazing to do. And it's just been great to be part of the journey, and yeah, anything to be part of this amazing community and of fans, and make a lot of friends on the way.
Yeah, it's been cool to see that grow and all the charity tournaments, and then ultimately what it all goes into, which is raising money for unbelievable causes. You've got I think it's the seventh FFCC for 2025. You launched it a few weeks ago. How's the early kind of sign-ups been, and kind of where are you at with it ahead of kind of it all?
Yeah, I think we're nudging about 150 people. Some donated early last year. So the total is kind of like a skewed total, because some of the money that was raised is in last year's total, and then we'll open up sign-ups again that will count towards this year's total as a sort of rolling total. So we're at about at time of recording, about £1,750 raised already this year, which is it's good. It's on the way to sort of 5 grand. We're raising money for Crohn's and Colitis UK. Very personal charity to my heart. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is a very severe form of it. I was in hospital in and out for about 6 months, trying to get to grips with this pretty terrible disease. And it affects, there's over 500,000 people in the UK diagnosed, and it's actually people of our age, men of our age, that tend to be the most predominant sufferers of it. So it's obviously a demographic that speaks to our demographic that are listening. But there's probably another 500,000 people that aren't diagnosed because they're not aware of the disease, and GPs don't recommend the tests and things. So it's a charity that's really designed to bring awareness. Some of the most amazing sporting people in this country and in the NFL. In fact, if you have been following Hunter Renfro's story, where he retired from the NFL for a year, he has ulcerative colitis. So he lost a load of weight, couldn't keep it on, which is why he didn't have the energy to play. And now he's signed with the Panthers. He's got a treatment regime that is allowing him to do that. Matt Light, who won the Super Bowl with the Patriots, sufferer of ulcerative colitis, nearly retired twice with the disease. Steve Redgrave. There's lots of sports people and very famous people that have battled this condition in its many forms. So yeah, it's a very, really important disease to highlight and charity to raise money for. So it's a pleasure, and yeah, please do sign up. Our pinned tweet will have all that information. Every £1,000 that we raise, we will donate a prize. So I will exclusively reveal what the £2,000 prize is. So he gave away last week was it was a signed jersey from the winner's team's choice. It was a Tennessee Titans fan, so he is getting a Vince Young signed jersey.
That's so cool.
Which is cool. This time round, I have a Tommy DeVito signed Giants jersey.
Nice.
Now, I know he's not necessarily the best player, but I kind of go, like, come on, man, and the Italian, and exactly that. So when we hit 2,000, anyone that has donated and entered up until the point we hit that number will be eligible to win that, and I'll spin a wheel and winner gets it, and it's that simple. And then we'll do 3,000, and you'll still be in for that draw and many more. So every 1,000 we'll give something cool away. So
excellent, that's awesome. And yeah, make sure you go follow at 5 Yard Rush over on X. It's in the pinned. I'm still not used to calling it X on Twitter.
No, I'm with you.
It's the pinned tweet, and you've got the form to submit there, and there's also the Just Giving link to make your donation as well. We'll be taking part. I think it'd be I want to say maybe we took part a couple of years ago, but I feel we every single one we're coming across, the JTTC Cup, the Orkney Bowl, Warrior Bowl, every single one we're getting involved in. So yeah,
amazing.
Come and play and have some fun, potentially win a fantasy tournament, and more importantly, raise some money for a great cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. Murf, you are going to be tackling our specialist subject round first. You are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And the specialist subject is the 2020 Super Bowl winning season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How are you feeling kind of about the Bucs just kind of heading into 2025? They've won the Division 4. It's 4 years in a row? Yeah, 4 years
in a row
now. How are you feeling kind of heading into the upcoming season as a Bucs fan?
It's a good place to be. You got to remember that before we won the Super Bowl, we were 12, 13 years out of the playoffs. We'd gone through a lot of change, head coaches. We were a bit of a joke. And then, with Bruce Arians coming in, started to turn things around. And then obviously when you get Tom Brady, that helps. And I think, we went all in to win the Super Bowl. We went all in to win it again. It didn't happen. I do feel if we'd survived against the Rams the following season, we would have run it back. I'm 100% convinced we'd have won that Super Bowl, but we didn't. And then we thought we were going to get into this period of we were going to dip off into the future and rebuild and struggle. And cap situation wasn't good. A lot of void years and cap penalties facing our way, and not a lot of draft capital, and the team did really well. And this is where Jason Light is phenomenal. So since 2019, every single draft pick he has made is on an NFL roster still, which is quite an extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's like 47 players, I think. It's just a ridiculous number, and he has managed to, and the amount of UDFAs that he has signed who have become big players in the offense as well. It's phenomenal to see. And I think we've got a great GM. Question marks if Bowles is a winner. Obviously, that's the big question mark. But the talent's there to have a good season and win the division for the 5th year in a row. And once you're in it, you never know if the stars align and you stay relatively healthy and it can happen. I think the big surprise to everyone is how good Baker has been, and how now we've got this team. It's just the unfortunate thing is we've done so well. We've lost our offensive coordinator 4 years in a row.
And that's tough, isn't it? Because that's been a theme for Baker Mayfield throughout his whole career. So not just his time in Tampa, where he's just constantly switching out offensive coordinators. But that's a sign of success, right? I suppose
Of course it is.
rather have the consistency, but it means you're winning a lot of games. It means you're having a lot of offensive production if these OCs keep getting snapped up.
Absolutely.
For other jobs. What are you expecting out of kind of the Bucks then this year? Kind of where do you think they can get to for 2025?
I think this is a 10 and 11 win team. I think they're in the division for the 5th year in a row. I just think the continuity probably gets them there, barring injuries, and that's always a big thing. But I think the continuity's there. The team is there. You know, a lot of players coming back. So the Buccaneers are in a really rare situation that actually over 100% of their offensive production last year is coming back, and people are questioning why it's over 100% and not 100%, because we lost one player who contributed yardage last year for negative yards. So we're 100% 0.43 of our offensive production is coming back this year. So, and then we've added to it with Emeka Ibuka. So, the rich get richer in that wide receiver room. So it's phenomenal times, and it's just having gone through all the crap. Let's just enjoy the good time, right? And what happens. But I expect a 5th division title. It'd be nice to win in the playoffs this year. Last couple have been a bit dire. And just see where we get to, and you just never know what will happen when you're in the dance.
So yeah, if you get in the dance and get hot at the right time, we've seen it happen before. Certainly, teams can kind of come out of nowhere and win for sure. But yeah, good times for the Bucks over the last 5 years or so. So and yeah, got definitely a good chance of continuing it this year. 2020 season, of course, a great season for the Bucks. Was the Super Bowl winning campaign, arrival of Brady, lots of good things happening. I'm going to quiz you now on that whole season over the next 2 minutes. So very much in Mastermind tradition, and I'm still fully expecting the cease and desist email from the BBC soon. But if you pass, we'll come back to it at the end. If I start a question as the 2 minutes runs out, I will finish it and give you the opportunity to answer. Let's see what score you can set, Murf, and take yourself up for the second round. Are you ready to roll?
Let's go.
Excellent. Right. Bucks 2020 season. Bucks 2020. Let's go. Safety Antoine Winfield was drafted in which round of the 2020 NFL draft?
Second round.
Correct. The Bucks lost back-to-back games once during the regular season. First to the Rams in Week 11, and then to who?
The Chiefs.
Correct. The Bucks avenged 2 losses against which divisional opponent by beating them in the divisional round of the playoffs?
Conference we beat because it was the Saints.
Saints, cool. And you check that. It's the Saints anyway. I'll add them sometime. Despite being the second option in the regular season, who led the Bucks in rushing yards during the playoffs?
Leonard Fournette.
Correct. 3 different tight ends caught touchdown passes during that season. Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, and who?
O.J. Howard.
Correct. The Bucks were given a scare in the wild card round, going up against which perennial backup quarterback?
Taylor Heineke.
Correct. What seed were the Buccaneers in the NFC playoffs?
5.
Correct. The touchdowns the Bucks scored in the Super Bowl were all from players brought in during 2020. Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, and which other player?
Antonio Brown.
Correct. Which former Bucks quarterback was offensive coordinator during this season?
Byron Leftwich.
What gesture did Antoine Winfield famously make to Tyreek Hill during the Super Bowl that drew?
He gave him the deuces in revenge for the loss to the Chiefs.
Which player wore the number 10 jersey for the Bucks during the 2020 season?
Was it Ryan Suckup?
It's Scotty Miller.
Of course it was.
How many interceptions did Tom Brady throw in the NFC Championship game versus the Packers?
Interceptions. 2.
It was 3. And
3.
Last questions, we're just on time. Mike Evans had the most receiving yards in a game for the Bucks with 181 yards in that season in a 47-7 win against which team?
The Detroit Lions.
Correct.
He didn't play the second half either.
Yes, they didn't. I think they ended up sitting everyone, pretty much. Yeah, 181 yards, most in a game that season. On out. Unbelievable performance. What's it for? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I'll take that.
11 is phenomenal performance. We've not seen many get to double digits in the specialist subject round.
Okay, I'll take that. I don't feel like I've disgraced myself.
Not at all. 11 is, 11's not disgracing yourself at all. Yeah, 11 is great and probably like 90%, 95% in terms of the number of questions. So, yeah.
I'll take that.
Scotty Miller was the other one. Jersey, I think the Jersey questions are a bit mean, so apologies. And yeah, number of interceptions. It was just to try and mix up some of the questions for the.
I was toying between 2 and 3 because he threw 2 in the series. But it was 3. It was all second half, I think, as well.
Yeah, and then so I thought, and I'll double check, but I thought they had played the I don't know if they were Commanders then, but the Washington football team, then the Saints, then the Packers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I got confused with the question. I thought you said 2 divisionals, and it was 2 divisional losses.
Yeah, because they lost both. They've lost both the games against the Saints in the
week 1, which was Brady's debut.
Yeah,
that was at the Superdome, and then lost at home. One of the worst games. It was we lost 38-3.
Yeah, it was 38-3. Yeah, they got behind, and then, but didn't matter because they went and won it all. So
that's it. When it mattered. Mike Edwards caught Drew Brees' last ever pass in the NFL.
Nice, that's good. That could have been it. That should have been a question. Could have created that as a question for this. But 11, great work, Murf. So you got the opportunity to sit back now, relax. We'll give you a little bit of time as the rest go through their second round, and we'll come back and see how you get on during the NFL trivia round.
Thanks, matey.
That's a specialist subject round in the books. 4 great performances from the guys there taking part. We've got Shane, Brennan and Ollie Butler-Henderson on 5 each after their specialist subjects. Ollie Hope with 10, but Murf leading the way after the first round with 11. And I also did him a bit dirty with a real bad question about Jason Pierre-Paul. Sorry again, Murf, apologies. That's only the second time we've had a bit of a boo-boo with a question. Not bad, 600 plus questions in I think, but Murf leads the way. Going to go in reverse order, so we're going to have Shane and then Ollie, Butler-Henderson, Ollie Hope, then Murf go in the NFL General Knowledge round, and we'll see who's going to win and claim that place in the Good Teams and Great Teams cover Mastermind Grand Final. We've got Shane back, Shane Brennan from the Irish NFL show. Shane, you've had some time to reflect on how round 1 went. You ready for round 2?
Do you believe in miracles, Paul? Because I do, and I can win this heat. I'm telling you.
Absolutely, I believe you can, Shane. You've got 5 on the board in your Al Michaels specialist subject round. Like I've mentioned it a few times, it's one of my favourite ones to research and write. Been quite a wide range of subjects, but I think that's the one I've enjoyed the most so far. So that was really cool. And who doesn't love Al Michaels? He's awesome. So
I'm glad you enjoyed researching, because when you asked me about it initially, I was like, I don't want to just pick the history of the Patriots. So I want to try and pick at least something a bit left field. So that might have hurt me in the score, but you enjoyed doing the research, so I think that makes up for all the rest.
You should get an extra 10 points for that, because I got to enjoy writing the questions.
I didn't say it. You make the rules around here. I didn't say anything.
I do make the rules, yes. But I think we would have people up in arms about the credibility of the show if we did that. But you've 5 on the board so far, and then you're going to head into NFL general knowledge. You mentioned kind of just before we jumped off the first part, roughly the last 10, 12 years is kind of where your main knowledge base is. I think you'll still have a shot at some of because there are inevitably some older questions, because sadly I just couldn't write 500 trivia questions about the last 10, 15 years of the NFL without repeating a lot of things. But I think you'll do well. Typically, the older questions that we've got are big names. So even if you just become a fan of the sport, within yourself the last 12 years or so, the names are synonymous with the older questions, just to try and give people a fair chance of getting them, I think. So you can have an educated guess at some of the older ones, I think, and end up getting some of them right. We have had to pull out there's no Patriots questions in this, because that would just seem unfair. If we just look, We just load it up because there could be a lot of Patriots questions in here. So we've tried to do that with as well, people with their teams as well. But I think you'll do pretty good in this part. And you've got to try and set a score, Shane. That's the thing. You've got 5 in the first round. You've got to set a clubhouse score now. How confident are you feeling?
I mean, it all depends on what's being fired your way. But I mean, I feel like I spent enough time either on trains or asleep on trains, listen to all these podcasts, and you'd have like Rich Eisen and all the guys throwing in different bits of trivia that, like, through osmosis, there's probably more in the back of my brain than I appreciate. But I guess the proof is in the pudding, so I'm looking forward to cracking into it.
Excellent. So same as before, 2 minutes this time on the general knowledge of the NFL. Ready to roll, Shane?
Let's go.
Let's go. Excellent. Who is the all-time leader in rushing yards in NFL history?
O.J. Simpson.
Emmitt Smith. Which quarterback succeeded Brett... Oh, I'll start that question again and add some time on. Which quarterback succeeded Brett Favre as the Packers starter?
Aaron Rodgers.
Correct. Which Chicago Bears player was named Defensive Player of the Year in 2005?
Pass.
Who was the head coach for the Cleveland Browns as they went 0-16 in 2017?
Pass.
Which former Defensive Player of the Year has the following career path? Raiders, Bears, Chargers?
Pass.
The Rams went back to Los Angeles from which city in 2016?
St. Louis.
Correct. Who was the first overall pick in the 2013 NFL Draft?
Jared Goff.
Eric Fisher. Who had a kickoff return touchdown from the opening kickoff of Super Bowl 41?
Which player?
Yeah.
I could pass.
Which quarterback represented different NFC West teams in Super Bowls 34 in 1999 and 43 in 2008? You know this. I can see it on your face.
Carson. Play for the Cardinals. Can't think of his name. Pass.
Which NFL head coach won Coach of the Year in the 2020 and 2023 season?
Sean McVay.
It's Kevin Stefanski. Who was the last non-quarterback to win the NFL MVP award?
Pass.
And last one, which Hall of Fame running back was famously nicknamed Sweetness?
Pass. I'm not on it tonight. Not on it.
Cool, so we'll run through. So a couple there. So you added 2 to your 5 from the first round. Brian Urlacher was the Bears player, Defensive Player of the Year. Hugh Jackson was the coach of the Browns when they didn't win a game. That was 2017. Khalil Mack was Raiders, Bears, Chargers.
Yeah, should have got that.
Yeah, Khalil Mack. Eric Fisher for the Chiefs was the 2013 number 1 overall pick. Devin Hester, the kickoff return, touchdown kickoff return specialist. Walter Payton, Man of the Year award. It's known as Sweetness. Kevin Stefanski was the coach of the year. Kurt Warner was the Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner, yeah. I saw his face, and for some reason, Carson Wentz came into my head. I was like, no, that's wrong. I know for a fact that's wrong.
You Carson Palmer. I was like, oh, he's going to get the right one.
Yeah,
I could see Kurt Warner on your face, and you went Carson Palmer. 7 overall. It's tough under the lights, isn't it, Shane?
It is. You know, the pressure's on, the heat is on. You know, this is why I can never make it as a NFL quarterback. You know, trying to make all these decisions, everything's flying at you in 3 different directions. You know, I'm better off with my sort of week-to-week analysis. You know, so well, I think it's still fresh in my mind from the weekend's Red Zone. But look, it's good fun, and you know, like a lot of credit to yourself for putting together the questions, but also editing together the video, which goes up on Spotify and all the audio as well. So, Jesus, you know, fair play to you. It's Trojan work.
Yeah, and look, we'll do it. Maybe we can share an inside trick or two on how we do it. But I mean, we're still learning those. But Shane, give us a shout out. Where can we follow? Where can we watch the Irish NFL show?
Yeah, so the easiest place, if you look up the Irish NFL Show, we have a website, we're on Instagram, on Twitter. Twitter is where we put a lot of our live shows, but also we split everything up into our podcast feed. If you go to @IRE NFL, you see the Irish NFL Show there. It's not just me. There's a team of about 7 of us in total doing lots of little bits between podcasts, social media, hosting events if you are based in Ireland. We're hoping to be at all of the London games as well as the ones in Spain and Berlin. So if anybody's around, please give us a shout. But just give us a follow. I think in the next couple of weeks we might start again doing some team. We're going to go through our division by division, team by team season predictions and previews. So if anybody's any questions relating to certain teams, please fire them in. I'm sure we can give you our takes.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed even as a Cowboys fan, I really enjoyed the Bobby Skinner Giants episode that came out in this week. It was really, really good, and they say a lot of stuff that I've caught since we've been following you guys. Really enjoy. I think you do a great job. You're one of obviously a collection of great creators and great podcasts and stuff over in Ireland, and real exciting that the game's coming over in September. It's the end of September, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And hopefully I'll be over in Dublin for the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. So Shane, hopefully we can catch you for a pack or two in August.
I'll definitely see you there. I feel like it's certainly in the way we see things in Ireland, that game is kind of taking a back seat, which is unfair because the colour around that college game and the quality we've been able to see on the field is second to none, really. So if you're around in Dublin, I'll certainly run into you. It should be good fun.
Excellent, good stuff. Shane, thanks very much for taking part. Appreciate it. We'll move on to our next competitor taking part in round 2, the NFL General Knowledge round.
We're joined again by Ollie from the Third and Long pod to take on the second round, which is the general knowledge part of our Mastermind quiz. Ollie, how are you doing? You've had a bit of time. How do you feel kind of the first round went on your UK Games specialist subject?
Kicking myself on a couple of answers, but I should have known the Praetor and I should have got the Broncos, and I just couldn't. I pictured Alan Hurst and I saw it because it was in front of me, literally right in front of me. And yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, it's just couldn't think of the name.
It's tough as well, especially I think it's tough sometimes because obviously the Jags have played so many games at this point to try and decipher which one that game is.
They've done really well. They've won a lot of games over here as well.
Yeah. So maybe a little bit of a mean question on my part then to ask that specific a Jaguars question, given the number of games they've played. It was unintentional. So your general NFL knowledge, I think, is going to be pretty good based on kind of what we've talked about so far. I think you can have a good round. Are you feeling confident of kind of racking up the points in the second part?
No.
Fair enough. That's a good way to be.
I have mind blanks. I'm like going, I know it, and but forget I'm against the clock.
Yeah, the difference of the clock and the fact that we're recording it. I think if we weren't doing those two things and we were just having a general, more relaxed social quiz, they would just fly to you. It's the pressure of we're recording it for a podcast and you're up against the clock as well. So, but are you ready?
I'm an ex-semi-pro footballer, so I'm used to being fairly bloody against it.
You're used to having a bit of pressure. Good stuff. Right, well, I think you're going to do well in round 2, and you're going to set a tough score to beat overall. Same as before. Obviously, pass. We'll come back to it at the end. If I get to a point where at the end of 2 minutes I've started a question, I will finish. You ready to roll with 2 minutes of NFL general knowledge, Ollie?
I think so.
Well, it's happening. So, right, let's roll.
Okay, I've got a choice. All right, fair enough.
Let's roll then. 2 minutes starts now. Which Super Bowl winning quarterback has the following career path? Falcons, Packers, Jets, Vikings.
Falcons, Packers, Jets, Vikings. That would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, correct. Who headlined the halftime show at Super Bowl 59 in 2025?
Kendrick Lamar.
Correct. Who is the NFL all-time leader in sacks?
I want to say Aaron Donald, but I don't think it is.
It's Bruce Smith. Who was the MVP of Super Bowl 34? That was Rams versus Titans.
That was Kurt Warner.
Correct. Which player has the most career kickoff return touchdowns in NFL history?
Oh my God, he played for the KC. He is the human joystick. Dante. Oh. No, it's not. It's Cordell Patterson.
It is correct, Cordell Patterson. Who was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers during their 80s dynasty?
No. Sorry. Pass.
Who was head coach of the New York Jets for their last playoff appearance in 2010?
He's against us. Then he did the Jags as well. No, pass.
Who threw the pass in the Eagles' Philly special play during their Super Bowl 52 win?
Cheers for that question.
I know. I'd set these up before we recorded.
No, pass.
Which team did the Legion of Boom defense belong to?
Seahawks.
Excellent. Who was the first overall pick in the 2011 NFL draft?
Is it Alex Smith?
It was Cam Newton. And you'll like this one. Last question. Which player has the most receiving touchdowns in a single season?
Receiving touchdowns in a single season? Why can't Julian
Randy Moss with 23 in 2007.
And it was first as well.
Yeah, that's why I thought you'd love the question. I thought you'd love that question. Yeah, Randy Moss 23 in
That's too obvious. I just literally in my head going, that's too obvious. It's too obvious. It's too obvious.
Yeah,
Julian Edelman.
Yeah, 23 Randy Moss in that unbeaten run. Well, apart from the end, but yeah, beast of a season, 23.
Smith was the number one overall pick, but it was a couple of years earlier, wasn't it?
2005, I think Alex Smith was. But yeah, it was Cam Newton in 2011 to the Panthers. Trey Burton was the Eagle who threw the pass to Nick Foles for the Philly special. Rex.
I didn't have Deion Johnson. I didn't have him. I had Johnson.
Yeah, Trey Burton. Rex Ryan was the Jets coach for the last time they were in the playoffs.
Of course it was.
Yeah, Rex Ryan. Bill Walsh was the coach for the Niners during their 80s dynasty, and Bruce Smith was the all-time leading career sacks. I think that's another 5, so that's 10 on the board, double digits. Double digits for...
I know what Perrin's history knowledge is like. He's incredibly knowledgeable history-wise.
Yeah, is there a little bit of that between you guys? Like, there's definitely going to be like, whichever one gets the best score, there's going to be a lot of bragging going on.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with Perrins now for the last 3 years, and he's a very bad winner. But he's a
bad winner.
Well.
Excellent.
Yeah, he'll probably have a belt in the background if he wins.
Hey, look, we're not handing out any prizes, so if you guys create a prize for yourself, then that would be fantastic. Yeah, Ollie, thank you ever so much for taking part in Good Teams and Great Teams cover Mastermind. We appreciate it. Just give us a reminder again, where can we catch Third and Long Pod, and what have you guys got coming up over the next few months?
So yeah, we're on the Third and Long. We've got our usual stuff. We always rank players, rank positions. Obviously with the news of the NFL, like allowing NFL flag players in the NFL in the Olympics, discussing that. Obviously the tush push rule with that as well going forward. So we've got a lot to come up in the recent weeks. Find us on YouTube or Facebook or even Twitter or anywhere else. Search Third and Long. I haven't got my flag up. I normally have a flag in the corner on there. So yeah, we're all on their socials at Third and Long UK Pod.
Excellent. Make sure go and follow the guys. It's a great listen, great watch. So make sure you go and support. And we'll see, Ollie, if you've got enough to get through to the grand final, and if you've got enough to be the leader in the Third and Long Pod clubhouse as well. We shall see by the time we get to the end of this series. But yes, we've got our next competitor coming up to finish off their quiz with the NFL general knowledge round.
We've got Ollie back, Ollie Hope from the Third and Long pod. Ollie, you've had a bit of time after your fantastic first round. You got 10 on the board for your 49ers specialist subject. How are you feeling kind of now you've got 10 on the board?
Yeah, well, I'm happy with 10. Hopefully, I can replicate that, or do even better and get 20 or above.
20 plus. Well, 20 plus will definitely be in the conversation for a winning score.
Yeah, hopefully.
What we've learned so far. Yeah, if you can get to 20, that's a real good chance of winning. So, yeah, how is your general NFL knowledge, do you think?
I like to think my general NFL knowledge is pretty good, but being fairly young, I'm sure there'll be some questions before I was born, so we'll see how I do with those.
Yeah, there's going to be a mix for sure, just to level the playing field and make sure kind of everybody, everybody's kind of had a mix of questions. But I still think you'll have a good chance if you've got a strong general NFL knowledge. I think you'll have a chance of even getting some of the old ones as well. So let's see how you do. 2 minutes on the board, same as before. If you pass, we'll come back to it at the end. If I start a question as the 2 minutes expires, sadly we've no countdown or fancy graphics yet on the show to keep up, but we'll get there in the years to come, I think, with that. But are you ready for 2 minutes on general knowledge of the NFL?
I am.
Excellent. Right, let's go. Who caught the touchdown pass on the Minneapolis Miracle play as the Vikings beat the Saints in a 2017 divisional playoff game?
Stephon Diggs.
Correct. Who is the all-time leader in passing yards for the Houston Texans?
Pass.
Who was the MVP of Super Bowl 45? That was Packers v Steelers.
Roethlisberger?
Aaron Rodgers.
It's
Who
on
was
the
the head
Packers,
coach of
isn't
the
it?
Denver Broncos during their back-to-back Super Bowl wins in the 90s?
Pass.
Who became the first team to win the Super Bowl in their home stadium in the 2020 season?
Tampa Bay.
Correct. Which team relocated from San Diego in 2017?
The Chargers.
Correct. Which wide receiver's career path is this? Giants, Browns, Rams, Ravens, Dolphins.
Pass.
Which team plays its games at M&T Bank Stadium?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Correct. Who was the first overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft?
Baker Mayfield.
Myles Garrett. Since 2005, 3 running backs have been named MVP. Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, and which other?
They're the two I knew.
Sorry.
Jim Brown?
It was Sean Alexander. Who was the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41?
Jay Cutler?
Rex Grossman. Which team lost from being 28-3 up in Super Bowl 51?
The New England Patriots.
Which team lost?
Oh, the Falcons.
Cool, yeah, I thought I'd re-ask that. The Chiefs play their home games at which stadium?
Arrowhead Stadium.
Correct. What jersey number did Hall of Fame wide receiver Michael Irvin wear for the Dallas Cowboys?
81.
88. Which year did the Carolina Panthers last win the NFC South?
2014. No, 2015.
2015, we'll give you that. 5 on the board for part 2. Tricky. The general knowledge is trickier, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is trickier. It is hard, a bit of a mix of stuff there. So, the Denver Broncos coach was Kyle Shanahan's dad, Mike Shanahan.
Oh, Mike Shanahan, yeah. I should have known that one.
Mike Shanahan. Texans all-time passing lead is Matt Schwab. It won't be, I'd say it won't be for much longer, but he's got quite a lead. CJ Stroud's got a bit of work to do to catch.
Yeah, well, Stroud wasn't great last season, so we'll see.
He's got a bit of work to catch Matt
I'm
Schwab.
always pulling for the Texans because of D'Amico Ryans, but...
Nice, yeah. They've been going pretty well, to be fair, since he's been there. And the third running back, so you knew Adrian Peterson, you knew LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
It was Sean Alexander of the Seattle Seahawks in 2005.
Yeah, when you said 3, I was hoping you were just going to say name one of them or name 2 of them.
Name 2, yeah. Sean Alexander might be the lesser known one, yeah. But yeah, 5 on the board, 15, still a real strong score. Oh no, 16, sorry. Well, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6. So I nearly just docked you a point for no reason. 16 on the board. Ollie, 6 in the second round, 10 in the first one. I think it's 8. 15 plus is a good score. I think is a real competitive score. So yeah, how do you feel?
What did Ollie get?
Oh, I can't reveal that now. We've got to keep people in suspense for the end of the recording. I can't. Maybe talk about it when we finish recording. But I'm not.
I wasn't sure whether Ollie had gone yet.
Yeah, we have recorded with Ollie, so
that I'm not sure what order you're going to put it in.
Yeah, well, that is very much dependent on how people score. So
yeah.
So when they finish, the other guys have finished the recording because we've still got to say another person to record. We'll slot it all together. But yeah, you guys are gonna have to just hold on and wait to see who is the third and long pods. Represents it. Maybe if one of you guys wins, you'll get to the grand final. Or who's got bragging rights?
Like I said, I beat Ollie in our podcast, so hopefully I beat him again.
Yeah, make it 2 in a row. Ollie, give us a reminder before you go. Where can we catch the third and long pod?
Third and Long podcast is on YouTube and Facebook every Thursday at 8:30 p.m.
Excellent, good stuff. Make sure you go and catch the guys and give them a follow. It's a fantastic watch, fantastic listen. So we'll move on to our next competitor, and we'll see if Ollie's 16 is good enough to win.
Well, thanks for having me.
Ollie Hope with a strong performance there. He holds the lead in the clubhouse with 16. So Murf needs 5 for a tie and 6 to win. Can he get enough in the general knowledge round to secure his place in the grand final? Let's find out. Here's Murf from the 5 Yard Rush podcast. Let's see what he can do. We're back with Murf, who had a sterling first round, scoring 11 on his specialist subject, which was Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2020 season. And look, we've clarified, I dropped a bit of a boo-boo with one of the questions, so it could have been 12, so I apologies. My apologies. JPP was, of course, there from 2018, not joining 2020, but great performance. 11, how are you feeling, kind of, having had a bit of time to kind of digest it?
Yeah, I've calmed down a bit now, like the adrenaline was pumping. I thought I was going to get like 2. So... Yeah. And I got to enjoy the memories of winning the Super Bowl in 2020. So it's like, that's why I picked the subject. It's like, even if it's terrible, I get to walk away and like remember all the iconicness of winning that Super Bowl.
Which was tremendous. So yeah, great performance. 11 on the board. You've set yourself up really strong for a really strong finish here. How do you think your general NFL knowledge is going to be?
It's one of those things that I'll always say it's okay. And then it's just whatever questions fall your way and what comes into your head at the time, right? It's like I can remember most like first overall picks, but then the time pressure gets you and then it starts to spill over. So you don't know. And then you get your ears muddled up and you're just like, oh. So yeah, it's all about how you handle the pressure. But if I've got a calm head, I reckon I can do okay. Yeah. The goal's to try and get 9 here.
Okay, get to 20. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. That's a good aim. I think you'll do pretty well, to be fair, based on kind of your knowledge there that you showed from the first round, and I think kind of just the amount of time you've been involved in around all the work you do with your own show. I think you set up pretty well to have good.
So you've just set the bar now, so now I've flopped.
Yeah, but I think you'll do well. Are you ready to roll then? 2 minutes. Same principle as before, and then we'll see if it's. We'll find out at the end of the episode if it's good enough to win it. Let's roll. 2 minutes NFL general knowledge with Murf. Let's go. Who was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys for their first 2 Super Bowl victories in the 1990s?
Jimmy Johnson.
Correct. Who is the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens?
Oh gosh. Pass.
Which NFC West team had a 7-9 record but still won the division in 2010?
2010. NFC West. Cardinals.
It was the Seattle Seahawks. Jim Harbaugh left which college to take the Chargers head job in 2024?
Michigan.
Correct. Which head coach holds the all-time record for most regular season wins with 328?
Bill Belichick?
Oh, it's Don Shula.
Don Shula.
Belichick's chasing him. Bryce Young went number 1 overall of the 2023 draft from which college?
Alabama.
Correct. Who set a new rookie receptions record with 112 catches during the 2024 season?
Malik Neighbors.
Brock Bowers.
Wow.
Who was MVP of Super Bowl 56? That was Rams Bengals.
Matthew Stafford.
Cooper Kupp. Who Day is a fan chant commonly associated with
the Bengals.
Bengals. Which NFC North team was the last to win a Super Bowl?
Packers.
Correct. Which quarterback was known as the Sheriff?
Oh gosh. Pass.
Hall of Fame tight end Tony Gonzalez was drafted by which team?
Cardinals.
Repeat that.
Cardinals.
It was the Kansas City Chiefs. Who is the Arizona Cardinals' all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Correct. And last question. Which NFL Hall of Famer had the following career path? Falcons, 49ers, Cowboys, Washington, Ravens.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Falcons, 49ers, Cowboys, Washington, Ravens. Which NFL Hall of Famer had that career path?
Oh gosh.
I think it's the early bit that you'll get it from. Falcons, Niners, Cowboys.
Yeah, no. I'm Falcons, 49ers, Cowboys. No, it's gone. So pass.
Primetime Deion Sanders.
Of course it was. Yeah.
But strong still again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to your score.
Yeah.
17 in total. Not the 20 you're after, but still. Anything up in the late teens is a really good score, I think, over 2 rounds. Mark Andrews is the Ravens all-time. Yeah. Touchdown receptions. Brock Bowers, 112. He just beat Puka Nakua's record.
Yeah.
I think it would have been Nabe. Neighbours missed a couple of games, didn't he? I think it would have been Neighbours for sure if he'd have played a full 17. And Peyton Manning was the Sheriff.
Of course he was. Yeah.
But it's funny that the pressure of the time. It does it, doesn't it? Yeah.
It really does.
But really, really strong score. 17 is going to put you in the mix, I think, for a winning score. So we'll see how you get on, see if it's enough. Murf, just give us one last shout out before we let you go. Where can we follow everything 5 Yard Rush?
Sure. So we're on all podcatchers, YouTube, everything. You see our pin tweet at 5 Yard Rush, and for the FFCC that we talked about, we're also dropping our fantasy guide for 2025. That is going to hit Amazon hopefully by the time this comes out. If not, it will be over the weekend. That is our guide for you to win your fantasy leagues. So we'll also be selling it on our Patreon for a much more reasonable price. It's like an e-publishing price. So it comes to us directly, so you can buy it from there. All links will be on our handle. So if you want to dominate your leagues, and also I run a lot of leagues. So just follow us, and if you're interested in playing some weird and wacky fantasy leagues, or just straight up great fantasy leagues, and you want to get a bit better at fantasy and dominate your mates, just come along for the ride, and we'll have a good time doing it.
We always need a bit of extra help. We will put the links to the Fantasy Football Playbook, the Patreon and stuff. We'll put it. That'll be in the episode description. So if you're looking for it, drop it at the bottom of the episode, and you've got the links there. And go buy it. Go support Murf and 5 Yard Rush.
Yeah, really appreciate it. I'd also say, just in the book, so what we've done differently this year is there is a link at the back. It's a QR code, and that goes to my projections, which I do, and you can customize it for any league that you're in. So if you play in a league with really wacky scoring, this will give you a baseline on who's valuable and who's not in that. So if you play for money online in best ball leagues or whatever, that is an essential tool that you'll need to win this year.
Excellent. I will be using that for sure to help me hopefully win some leagues this year. Murf, thank you ever so much. You've been a fantastic competitor for our Mastermind Heat 3. Like I say, we will see at the end if 17's enough to get the win.
Well, I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you again.
We'll hopefully see you in the final. Let's see. And there we have it with the total score of 17. Murf from 5 Yard Rush wins Heat 3 of Mastermind and joins Andy Davis and Tom Craft in our grand final. Great Great episode. Such a close call. Only one in it between Ollie Hope and Murf, but Murf just pips Ollie there to victory. Thank you, guys. Thank you to, again, Murf, Ollie Hope, Ollie Butler-Henderson, both from the third and long pod, and Shane Brennan from the Irish NFL show. All great guests, all producing great content and great NFL interviews and fantasy content and everything in between. So go and give all those shows a follow and support. And thank you for coming on. Good teams and great teams cover Mastermind. We appreciate you taking part. Lots coming up from us still. We've still got Heat 4. We need that fourth and final finalist to round it off. We've just done a Olympic flag football draft, which was fun, and we are soon to be starting our NFL division preview series. We've got some fantastic guests lined up to give us insight on their teams for the NFL division preview series. The first one drops soon, so keep an eye out for that. As always, give us a follow. Good teams with great teams cover. The pod is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, video version on YouTube. It's also available on Podbean and Overcast. Follow our social media channels, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, at GTW_GTC. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.